Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. So we've got some news here. I'm just going to specifically focus on this news because it's kind of big. I know there's some other stuff that I probably do still need to cover, but we have Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer preview pages out of nowhere up on Edelweiss. Now, I was not expecting them to hit this early because obviously we're still in March and the book's out in August. So these are potentially some of the earlier preview pages that we've had here, like 5 months before release. Typically in recent years, like there's been stuff where like review copies of the book have gone out before preview pages, but no, preview pages here obviously highlighting the book is done and has been done for quite a while, and that as is typically the case, most of the delays that happen to these books these days are sort of distribution kind of production issues in relation to like printing, logistics, that sort of thing. But anyway, let's get into this book. So, of course, it is The Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer. It is the Iroh and June comic. It's the 5th Avatar one-shot comic from Faith Erin Hicks and Peter Wortman as the creative team. And yeah, we have 6 preview pages. The description for the book, obviously, is the idea that Iroh's tea supply dries up. He goes in search of answers. He finds himself captured by June the bounty hunter. Iroh must confront his past while June considers her future. Someone's got to free the tea. So we know there's stuff like a tea cartel, I think, involved here, and that there's going to be stuff in relation to June's past as well as Iroh's past. So we get to see that in these preview pages. So I actually have them all open here a little bit clearer. We can zoom in a little bit if required. So opening page here. So this is obviously Iroh having left his tea house, the first encounter with June. So obviously there's a couple of pages at the very least before this, and we've seen some of that stuff from the Comic-Con stuff where we saw like the early preview pages. So this is probably maybe like 10-ish pages probably into the book. But yeah, Iroh's happy to see June again. She's like, "You should not be happy to see me. You're looking well. What are you up to these days? I'm about to hit the biggest payday of my career, one that will keep me and Nyla in luxury for years to come." And she's, of course, fighting with her whip. Iroh counters this. He kind of draws her in close, but she counters this with some sort of a poison, I guess, she stores in her mouth. Is it related to Nyla? Probably, but I'm not sure if they ever explain it necessarily. But Iroh goes down. And he's like, yeah, that's her plan, is to abduct Iroh. Page 2, obviously we skip a little bit of time because we go from, Iroh just unconscious to suddenly they've traveled a bit and they're talking. 4-1 isn't good odds, Nyla, even for June. And she just goes into battle against these random soldiers here and takes them out kind of non-bender style. One guy does kind of elbow her in the back, so it was not great odds, obviously, but she does pretty well. And then Iroh counters. Obviously, his hands tied behind his back. He does his dragon breath of fire here. Good distance on this. I like the portrayal of this, of just like this real concentrated stream that then kind of goes out wider when he needs it to. The Earth Kingdom's paying ain't worth this, and let's beat it. So, they all head off at this point. They always were terrible cowards, and so she's like, "You helped me out, but I still need that bounty. I have to knock you out again to make sure you don't try to escape." And he says, "I'm willing to travel freely with you to Doxia, if you tell me who hired you." So this is obviously this new location that we know is going to be in this book. I think it's Port Doxia is what they said it was at one of the conventions. But we don't really know the significance of it necessarily. But, still, you can start to see some of the dynamic happening here. He's kind of helping her here, but he's just trying to figure out who's ultimately behind all of this. Because I guess he gets June and knows she isn't just specifically after him. But then the next page, we do get some backstory here with June. So pretty interesting, her reflecting on the past. Again, it seems clear that there's probably quite a few pages in between a lot of this stuff. So we'll try to figure that out, I suppose. But yeah, we see this is young June here, and I guess this is her mother and father. Tell me my favorite story. June, surely you're sick of that old tale. No, I love it. And so her mother says, once upon a time there was a beautiful thief who thought it was great fun to steal from rich Earth Kingdom nobles and give to the poor. Ah yes, I remember her, a wily adversary. Earth Kingdom nobles had grown fat with ill-gotten wealth. The thief just wanted to make things a little bit more equal and to take a little for herself. So that's an interesting one in terms of like, are they suggesting that like her father used to be a noble, or is it just that he was also in the, because I think we know from older lore that like her father specifically was a bounty hunter, but like he obviously could have been something before he took up that line of work. So what's the situation here? Because of course we skip from this, which is a kind of nice kind of family together style moment. What exactly happened, you wonder? Where did Nyla come from is obviously one of the other questions, since I think we basically know that like Nyla was given to June by her father. Based on older lore, we'll see if they keep that in place. But we skip ahead a little bit. Yes, very exciting. But then she continues and says, my father had principles. We swore to never do a job for any government authority. Not the Earth Kingdom, not the Fire Nation, not the Water Tribes. We owed allegiance to no one. It's how I like it. So at some point in between those two pages, I guess it does get explained that her father was or is a bounty hunter. Interestingly, it obviously maybe suggests something happened to the mother in the meantime to put June and her father kind of on their own. So what exactly happened here? I'm wondering maybe if like one of her mother's kind of things stealing stuff was maybe to steal a baby Shirshu, and maybe that's why Nyla is so important to June, because it like represents kind of, Nyla represents her mother to a certain degree. We'll see what way they go about kind of connecting this all together, but interesting enough. So you were always traveling and there was no place you called home. Home is just another word for being stuck in one place. True, putting down roots can make one's life more routine, but it also brings the opportunity for developing relationships, making friends, and finding family. Nyla's my family, he's all I need. So, that gives you a sense for like, okay, there's a very, very strong connection there between June and Nyla. It's not just that this is an animal that June happens to have. No, she really, really cares about Nyla. And it obviously suggests the idea of if he was given to her by her father, you know, where are her parents right now? Like there's some interesting stuff there. And in the final of these preview pages, we get 6 of them. Iroh Backstory. What's this? A broken wall of Ba Sing Se? The outer wall of the city fell. Victory was within our grasp. But instead of conquering the city, you walked away. You abandoned the post, leaving your soldiers trapped behind enemy lines. So there's an interesting kind of angle on it. It's this idea that like Iroh didn't like organize potentially a full-on retreat and get everyone out. Like Liu Ten died and he kind of, it seems like here, abandoned his post, and they're kind of framing it in that way. So we're delving into a part of Iroh's backstory where you almost wonder, like, are they ever going to do this? I believed you were the greatest general who had ever lived. I desperately wanted to be like you. We fought for you, General Iroh, and you abandoned us. And we get this guy leaving. So I'm guessing this is the idea of Iroh at some point over the course of this story comes into contact with a former member of his division, of his army. And finally, the confrontation that's been so many years in the making happens of like, what was your logic behind leaving that day? And obviously it suggests that this is going to have to delve into Liu Ten to a certain degree. And of course, we're expecting Liu Ten information from the RPG. It would be amazing if they could also tie that in with some Liu Ten backstory in this comic. Because is that what we're doing here? Of like June and Iroh are sort of in a way bonding over the loss of specific family members here. And that's where the actual connection between the two of them comes from. So this is definitely a very, very interesting one to see how they go about doing this. And then obviously this character here, is this kind of what's going on here? Has June been hired by a former member of Iroh's army to capture him just so he can sort out this major event in his life That would be a really, really interesting kind of story kind of idea, to bring things together. That it's not just someone, you know, oh, Iroh probably has a big bounty on his head or something like that. But no, I want to talk to this guy because of what happened in the past, about the Siege of Ba Sing Se and why it ended in the way that it did. This is really, really intriguing, of course. I think there's some good stuff going on here. If not just to highlight these last 3 pages and I think the truly interesting stuff about like the description of the book, of June's backstory, Iroh's backstory. Sure, we'll have to wait and see what exactly the situation is with regards to the whole maybe like tea cartel aspect of this, and how that all comes together. And we do want to see, of course, like, okay, it's cool to get June's backstory, but like, what is the takeaway in that? Like, the description, going back to it here for a second, is June considers her future. So some of what Iroh says to June, I guess, is going to make her maybe question the life of a bounty hunter. Is she maybe going to want to decide on a home for herself? That whole type of thing. And then for Iroh, what is going to be the takeaway for everything? Finally being confronted by someone who was there at the siege, and what happened. Like, what is the takeaway there? Is it going to be a major reveal about what happened during the siege? We have to wait and see, of course. So, as some initial discussion on this preview, definitely in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on all of this. But yes, super, super interesting. Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer, 6 preview pages. Let me know what your thoughts are on this book. Are you more excited for it now? Less excited for it? What do you think's actually going to happen in this one? But yes, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.